Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media here, and I am joined once again by the one and only Max Keiser, of course, of the Keiser Report on RT, a show that we have been watching for many years and admire, and I appreciate you joining us again. Thank you.
Oh, Josh, my pleasure. Great to see you again. We're at a conference once again, putting the message of crypto out there.
Yeah, Hard Rock Casino, of all places in Las Vegas. Of course, when you think of crypto, you think of the Hard Rock Casino. But I wanted to ask you about something that...
I think they wanted to change it to the Hard Fork Casino, but they didn't didn't pass.
Yeah, it's not efficient enough. But I wanted to ask you about something that has been in the news a lot lately regarding Bitcoin, which is this insane attempt to push forward an ETF. Like, we need paper contracts on Bitcoin, something that the whole idea of it is to break free from the banking system, break free from that kind of system. What do you think about this one push after another at the SEC with Winklevoss twins and others to push an ETF on Bitcoin?
I think that it's going to be okay, really. You know, it's actually needed to have a way for institutional money to come into Bitcoin. And most institutions don't want to play around with private keys and this type of thing. So it's a way to put a lot of money to work. I think concurrently you have a push toward financialization of Bitcoin and the creation of products that can be rehypothecated. This is a buzzword that's getting a lot of traction in the Bitcoin space these days. That seems to be perceived as even a greater threat, that Wall Street will be able to play games that they've done traditionally in the gold market and other markets to keep the price down or to manipulate the price. I think that's overblown for a lot of different reasons. But look, I mean, you're not going to be able to keep this out of the hands of the world's financiers. And last I checked, the stock market was losing ground. So if Bitcoin could become a safe haven, and it's going to attract a lot of capital, and that's going to manifest in many different ways, and ETF just being one of them.
Well, I certainly agree that we have to look to innovate this market, of course, and we have a lot of opportunities with Bitcoin to replace the banking system, to replace government, to replace a lot of things that we are so dependent on these days. Well, maybe not you and I, but a lot of people out there are so incredibly dependent on the banking system. We have this massive pension bubble that is popping up that's looking like it's going to be hitting around $50 trillion by the year 2050, I believe it was. No, $400 trillion worldwide. I mean, that's a huge shortfall. So Bitcoin seems to be the best way to break free from that system. Where do you see Bitcoin going in the future? I know it's a rather simplistic, elementary question, but no one seems to really know. I find most people say, well, on this day, this is going to happen. And they're basically always wrong. But where do you think this is going to go in the near future?
Well, price predictions are always wrong. I mean, my price prediction has been that we're going to see $100,000 for Bitcoin. I made that prediction in 2011, and I'm sticking to that prediction. And it's getting toward that price, obviously. Exactly when, we don't know. But in terms of where the adoption will occur on Bitcoin, I think you got to look to countries that don't have an installed, entrenched banking system already. Venezuela, Argentina, all across Africa. This is being used, and it's being used in the spirit of how and why it was created. And in countries like the U.S. that have already an established banking system that considers it to be a threat, it's going to be a slower adoption rate. So the adoption rate is going to be faster outside of the U.S., and then eventually it'll make its way to the U.S. Just like the U.S. dollar is still reserve currency of the world, all these other currencies, these fiat currencies, are trading down against the U.S. dollar until at the time when the U.S. dollar itself begins to be rejected by global banks and central banks, and that will be the last domino to fall in the fiat currency system. So same thing with Bitcoin. The U.S. will be probably the last for wide-scale adoption, but by then the price will be a lot higher, and that's why people are buying it now.
Yeah, what do you think about this attempt by a lot of central banks to try and co-opt the message? I mean, Bitcoin stands alone, but there's a lot of central banks around the world, China, India, elsewhere, Sweden, that want to push, a centrally planned digital currency. And, China has social credit and all that kind of stuff, and it's all very concerning. Where do you think that's going? Because it appears that the banking system is trying desperately to gain some relevance.
Well, the key is in the phrase that you just used there, essentially planned digital currency. Okay, now Bitcoin is decentralized by definition. They can't compete with that. So the only thing they can come up with is a centrally planned crypto coin or digital coin of some type. but it's never going to compete with a decentralized coin like Bitcoin. So they will go down that path. Like I've said in Venezuela, when they've introduced the petro, that this would be an attempt for a government to introduce a crypto coin, and it's you could call it a gateway drug. Like they'll try the petro, they'll realize there's huge shortcomings, and then they'll migrate over to Bitcoin. Like it's a way toward getting toward Bitcoin. And other countries are experimenting with crypto. Everyone wants to get out of the US dollar. If you were to question them behind closed doors, they're very vocal in that the US dollar is a huge problem for countries, especially now under Trump, where trade is being re-architected all over the world. And so they're going to come to Bitcoin, and institutions are coming to Bitcoin, and scaling is coming to Bitcoin, and Lightning networks, and side chains, and everything that we know is coming is coming. And in response to this growing crisis in the banking sector that is now about to explode on another huge leg down.
Yeah, isn't it interesting that all the Trump supporters that say that they're super, pro-free market, at the same time are supporting all these tariffs and these trade deals and all this kind of craziness? I feel like there is a bit of hypocrisy mixed in there. But I wanted to ask you, Max, as we close it off, outside of Bitcoin, what is your favorite cryptocurrency? I should also say outside of Maxcoin, what is your favorite cryptocurrency?
Outside of Bitcoin, I try to stick to Bitcoin because once you start talking about other coins, it gets into these really pointless debates about relative strengths of these other coins. And I will mention a coin, though, since you put me on the spot, that I don't think is getting enough attention, that I think should get more attention, and that would be Dash, because Dash is in Venezuela, and they are helping locals get through this currency crisis. They've got forces on the ground. The masternode system that they invented is a great governance system. It's a great way to split the mining output, to create funds, to do projects that the masternodes vote on, like let's go to Venezuela, let's help folks out on the ground. So I think, Dash deserves a good mention. They've innovated. They've got a fine app. The wallet, it works great. They've sponsored a project that we did last year. They were able to raise money quickly and get the word out there. And I should mention, Josh, that we are doing this project called Gonzo, American Pilgrimage. It's picking up where we left off last year with Great American Pilgrimage, and we'll be traveling across the country again. And we're talking to some crypto sponsors right now about coming on board. So we want to leverage our media platform to get the message of crypto out there in whatever way we can. So yeah, we'll talk to different possible sponsors, but probably more in the platform space or the wallet space, not an individual coin. I should say that I really like Monero because of Fluffy Pony, who I think is an asset, a huge asset to the community. And, I think Charlie Lee is a huge asset to the community. So these folks, with Litecoin, but these are great technologists that people should follow because of their expertise and their passion for this space. But once you get outside of half a dozen names, though, you enter a bleak wasteland that is populated by thousands of coins that really should go the way of all flesh,
Yeah, and stop these ridiculous .com-like bubbles from popping up once again. There's a lot of really bad ones out there. But closing off, thank you very much for talking with us. We both know Danny Sessom. You mentioned Dash, and he's doing incredible things in Latin America with Dash. And, I think another country that's going to be needing it very soon is Argentina. There's a lot happening, and crypto can be a solution that we need to look towards to changing the future that we live in. And, we can stop complaining and worrying so much about the central banking system and all these terrible things that are happening because, well, we have solutions. So I really appreciate you talking with us again.
Remember, it's not Americant, it's American.
Exactly. Thank you.
Josh. See ya.
Like what you see here, OM? Don't forget to check the links below. GoFundMe, Patreon. We can't do it without you. Any donation is very much appreciated, especially as we are so vastly demonetized and censored on YouTube, as these guys come in and flag all of our content as hate speech. Also, check out our Bitcoin address below as well as on the screen for you to scan if you please. And also check us out at steemit.com. We're at Josh Sigurdson. It's a future of social media where you get paid in the upvote of your post in cryptocurrency. Steem, that is. So make sure to check us out there. Make sure to join us at Anarchapulco 2019 with people like Ron Paul, G. Edward Griffin, of course, Jeff Berwick, Vid Jedlicka. So many incredible speakers are going to be speaking. It's just a massively growing event. It is something you have to see to believe. So make sure to check it out below and save money on your tickets by using promo code WAM, that's WAM, and I hope to see you there. Also, check out our newsletter as we are getting demonetized and censored and all that. We don't know what comes next, so we have an email, worldalternativemedia@gmail.com. Send us an email with subject line YES, YES, and we will include you in the newsletter where we will continuously keep you updated. So until next time, thanks for watching, everyone. This is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.
I'm sure you have already changed people's minds in your young age because you're involved, and I like that.
Bye.